Hey everyone. So today what I wanted to talk about is how to create more time in your busy day. I know it's been a little bit since I've hopped on live here, but I figured, I was just thinking about what do I want to talk about with people? And, with the summer happening, it's July, and right before we dive into the school year, right, with kiddos going to school, sports events, things are going to start picking up if they're not already picked up already. And what it's really important to think about is how can you make the most out of your 24 hours in a day, right? I don't know if you feel like this, just kind of like raise your hand or just drop it in the comments if you do, but it's so hard, right? We only have 24 hours. I don't know if anyone feels out there that they are just running around like a chicken with their head cut off. There are so many things to do in the day between work, between school, between maybe running a business, maybe what you have to do for your kids, church, events, like all this kind of stuff, right? I don't know if anyone agrees, but feel free to raise your hand, right? These things can really be so inundated in our days that we're not even taking time to do the things that we love, to do the things that matter to us, right? So I want to take some time today to really talk about how can you make the most out of your busy day? How can you actually create more time? And by the end of your day, you don't feel depleted. So we're going to go into an activity. This is something that you can, pause the video if you're watching, take some time to actually write it down and actually start reflecting on this. And again, this is something I do with my clients a lot. So, if there's anything that you need in that sense, like we could talk about that. But I want this to be something that you can take home and take some time to reflect on. Okay. So what I want you to do is get like a journal or a notebook or something and create 3 columns within your journal or notebook. The first column, have it be work. Second column, play. And the third column, rest. What we're going to do is to start thinking about the things that we do on a pretty regular basis and start to categorize which bucket they go into, right? So work, if you think of work like a definition for it, right? Work is your job. If you're a parent, if you're a busy parent, parenting is a job, right? The things that you have to tend to for your kids, cleaning, whatever this may be, right? So that is considered work, right? The second one is play. So this is what I like to call, how are you having fun? Maybe is this social time with people? Maybe this is, dancing, whatever, right? Activities that you like to do that get you to be like a little bit fun, a little bit loose and everything like that. And then the third is rest, right? So what do you do to relax throughout the day? What do you do to just kind of calm down? What brings you back to center? Okay. And again, you'll come to find, these 3 categories are going to be really important to have a balanced life despite your busyness. What you don't want is that all of these events and things that are happening in your life to impact you, right? You don't want that to run the show. You want to run the show and to run your own life. And it's important to think about how are you contributing to each of these areas, okay? So again, work, play, rest. Really important to keep in balance. And what I want you to do is take time to actually write what is in your work category, what is in your play category, what is in your rest category. And then from there, actually break it down as if it was a percentage. So like what percentage of your time do you spend toward work? Now, after looking at all of the things that you wrote down, what percentage of time? Is it maybe, a 60-20-20 split between work, play, and rest? Is it something else? Ideally, what we want to do is have some sort of balance. Now, you might be in a season where, for example, if you're starting a business or something where, it might be a little bit more work, right? But again, ideally what we want to do is create as much balance as we can. So kind of look at that and understand, hey, how am I contributing my time, right? And for those of you who are parents, for those of you who are high achievers, for those of you who are just involved in so many things, more likely than not, your rest category, or maybe even your play category, is pretty insignificant. It's pretty small in comparison to the others. That work category might be a lot, right? And again, we want to create this sort of balance, this sort of flow, because without resting and without enjoying, we're not going to show up well to how we work. It's going to be unsustainable. We're going to feel depleted. And that's probably why you're watching this video, because you're like, I need to create more time, right? But in order to do those things in your work category, you have to bake in more time for your rest and your play. Again, especially if you're a busy parent out there, you have to take care of yourself before you tend to work, before you tend to your kids, before you tend to this, that. It's like the same quote of putting an oxygen mask on yourself before putting it on your kid in an airplane. You have to show up for yourself first and give yourself the rest and the play that you need before going into work. Before you do, you have to be. And when you connect with yourself, when you rest with yourself, when you find yourself, then you can do, right? So again, put activities in each of those buckets, understand the percentage of distribution, and start thinking about what can I do to kind of balance out the distribution across the 3 different categories, okay? And one of the ways to do this is to start looking at activities in each of those categories to understand a couple different things. 1, what are things in there that energize you? What are things that you look forward to, that you're excited about, that you get up and you're like, yes, I'm so ready to do this, right? For me, that looks like I love finding time to dance. Like I love singing, I love dancing. I actually integrate that into my play, right? I love to go dancing. I look forward to it, right? So look at those things that really energize you. But then look at those things that drain you. What are the things that you literally grudge about, you moan about? Like you're like, absolutely not. I hate doing this. Like for me, I'm like, I do not like doing administrative tasks for my business. I hate tracking gas mileage. I hate, doing this and that, right? Like things that that drain you, right? So look at those different activities that you put in these buckets to understand what is draining you, okay? And what is energizing you. So once you do that, right, then start making a game plan for how you can minimize the things that drain you and maximize the things that energize you in each of these categories, right? And what's really important in this is that the things that energize you, it's actually going to motivate you to do some of those things that may not be the best, right? So for me, it's like sometimes I have to like dance and get in a really, really good mood before I dive into administrative tasks, right? Sometimes I have to play, right? So that I can do, okay? And again, this is going to be really, really important as you're starting to think about that. So maybe that looks like for you taking things off of your plate. Maybe you have to take things off of your plate and maybe give them to a spouse. So say, for example, like doing the dishes really, really drains you. Have a conversation with your spouse to see if that's something that they can take on so that you can integrate more rest so that you can show up for your kids, right? So that's one way you can do it. Maybe you can kind of pass things off to someone or actually just remove them completely from your calendar or your things to do. And then the other thing as well is how can you start baking in and adding things that energize you? So if you really like, for example, like, man, I haven't read in ages, but I love reading books. How can you start plugging that into your day? Maybe that means taking less time on social media and actually reading a book, even if it's for 5 minutes before you go to bed, or maybe the first 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, right? Those things are actually going to bring you back into center and actually intrinsically motivate you to do things, right? So, again, how to create more time in your busy day. One, create those 3 categories: work, play, rest. Brainstorm all of those different things that fall within each of those buckets. And then from there, start to figure out what's your percentage of time that's contributed to each of those. Is it a 60-20-20? Is it, 30-30-40? Like, what does that look like for you, right? The goal is balance. The third thing is to start identifying with those activities that you listed, things that energize you and things that drain you. And then start making a game plan for how to minimize the things that drain you and to maximize the things that energize you. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Let me know. Even shoot me a DM. This is something that I work on really closely with my clients. We actually create a calendar. So we actually look at what their calendar looks like today, how it's balanced in each of the different elements of the life wheel, and what small steps we can take to start maximizing those things that energize us and minimize those things that drain us. And I actually had a client, I want to share this quick story, but I actually had a client, I was working with her on this exact same thing. She's like, I'm a mom of 2. Like, I just feel like I'm doing everything for them and just like not contributing to my own business and what I wanted to do. And by making some adjustments to her calendar, what we did was actually add in more time where she could read her Bible and read her book. And because of that, she was able to finish a book that she hadn't finished in like 2 years. She's like, oh my gosh, like I finally finished this book. And she felt so energized to not only show up for her kids, but then also to start working on things in her business that she felt like she just kept putting off to the side because she was spending so much time with her kids and being a stay-at-home mom. So again, just like a story that I wanted to share with you all, but really important. If you're struggling with this activity or you need more assistance, like, let me help you. Like, I would love to be that person for you. And then just a promo as well for people, for those who are busy parents. They're feeling like they're stressed and they're anxious about their days, or maybe even how to connect with their teens. They're like, I just feel like so busy that like my teen and I, we cannot get quality time. We are struggling with this. I am actually pairing up with a parent coach. Her name is 𝘱𝘳𝘪𝘳𝘊, and we are doing a 5-day parent mindset challenge. So super exciting. It's going to be from July 17th through July 21st, 7 to 8 p.m. Central. If you can join live, awesome. But if you need to catch the replay, you could do that too. What we want to do is really help families reconnect with their teens and build strong, healthy family dynamics and relationships. And again, it's not that your teen has to join or anything. It's just you as the parent. So if you feel like that is something that you're wanting or you're needing, feel free to sign up using the link that's posted in the description so that you can register, and we'll send you all the details and everything like that. All right, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much.